Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Pranoti, and I've been associated
Recording in
with Nobler
progress.
Private Limited. We welcome you all to the online Chopal Live Series Episode 5. It's a concept by Nobler Private Limited where we provide solutions to your mind handling problems and effective means on how to deal with them. And Nobler Private Limited, as you might be familiar by now, is a mind handling solution company working primarily in the field of corporate wellness. Also provides one-to-one counseling session to the general public and has been effective in training individuals to deal with emotional and psychological stress and anxiety issues. Today we have on board with us Mr. Geet Batra as life coach and workshop facilitator practicing multiple methodologies. Before he started his journey into exploring the world of consciousness, he has close to 2 decades of corporate experience in human resources, recruitment, sales, marketing, advertisement, and placements in multiple sectors like education and oil, gases, and even real estates. He is committed to empower people to wake up to their hidden potential. And on the other side, we have Miss Divya Duheta Mahajan ma'am, who is the founder and director of Enobler Private Limited. She is a certified NLP and EI coach and a trainer. She has almost a decade of experience in her domain. Currently, taking on corporate wellness programs, she has facilitated and challenged individuals across the country on their path to growth and success. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So the way our online Chopal work is like people from across the nation send us their entries in regards to their mind handling problems, be it like chronic stress, anxiety issues, workplace, workplace stress, or recent ongoing struggle in their pandemic situation. And we provide them with the practical and effective means to tackle their very problem. And this time, we have the tale of a person who is currently struggling to relax and find himself stressed out the day. It says, I work in the corporate sector and it's tough these days. Employees are getting sick, some are leaving because of pressure and the workload. I found myself in a similar situation. Both my parents tested positive, are in isolation currently, so the workload is on me. Few weeks back, I found myself in a mental state where I wanted to give up, sad most of the day, procrastinating, as if a heaviness sat on my chest. And I find it hard to change the way I feel. I try to meditate. I tried talking to friends and family. I tried working out, but nothing worked out for me. What can I do about such a situation? Happiness is our choice. Then where did you lose it? Like your horse, there's a spring cleaning required for what you have been feeding your mind. And when you do, you find the happiness lurking from the corner. What would you like to find your happiness on? Sir, I have a question for you. When we have a tendency to see the world in black and white, so which might be hinder our growth. So how can we bring about that shift in how we perceive the world and the situations?
Thank you for asking that question. It's a lovely question.
Yeah.
And we all, when we were born, we were not born with a list of things which are black or white. We absorbed it from our environment.
Yeah.
Somebody who is born in someone who is in army uh, or in family where somebody is in police services, they have a very different perspective about killing and crime. But at the same time, somebody who is born in, let's say, a village of thieves, that person would have entirely a different concept of black or white. Black or white is something which is not clearly defined anywhere in the world. It's the general society which decides black or white. And this is called as the law of polarity. The universe or this planet or this reality has a law called as law of polarity. If there is black, there is white. What we do is we try to define everything in black or white, and no two people would have same black or white.
Right.
Everybody defines love differently. For some, love is that craving the need and the attention of the another one. For another one, the love is something which gives you freedom. Similarly, for someone, education is what you do with what you know, and for someone else, it's the number of degrees and the score that you have. So we tend to define so many black and white, and then from our environment, we tend to absorb all the energies, all the comments, all the judgments, all the projection, and all the expectation from our environment, and constantly fighting with this black or white thing. You know, what we need to know: what if there is no black or white? What if you have never been in black? What if you have never been in white? What if it was always gray? And what if that attachment to being in black or white fades away? So, this black and white is coming from comparison. Let's go back several thousand years when there was only one person or two people. There was not much black or white defined. There were not even boundaries of countries defined. The countries never even existed. How would you judge which is black, which is white? How would you know who is right, who is wrong? Handful of people, even hundreds of people, even thousands of people, they were not able to judge as much. But the more we are growing and more we are getting modernized, every day we are bombarded with so much of communication from around, with clearly defining black and white. Two newspapers or news media, they do not agree on what is black, what is white. One says one thing and the other says another. People who are running the administration, they also have different point of view. So what one needs to know is that there is no black and white. All that there is gray. And it doesn't matter which gray do you choose. Yeah. Yeah,
That-
so that's all that I wanted to say, that see everything in color of gray rather than looking for black and white.
Just want to add one more point over here is normally the perception, let's say when something is embedded on a computer, for example, let's say a picture. The picture is there on a pixels. When we combine those pixels together, those pixels give us an image. And that image tells us what the identity the system is trying to represent. Right? Similarly, our brain has that ability to perceive thing, to convert something which is informable into a formable. And that is how we see things, and that is how colors come into existence, that is how perceptions come into existence. Majorly, when perceptions are there, they are part of the extrapolation of the thought process that covers up the remaining aspect, the in between two pixel aspect. So the in between two pixel aspect, if we start focusing in that area tends to give us a higher dimension of the situation. Many a times we lose up that area, and majorly because we have never taught how to think about it, how to find focus beyond the pixels and see the gray area. So through training programs, through interactions, and especially through observation. So whenever some situation happens to you, do not believe it there and then. Our only challenge is we tend to believe it, that this is it.
So take everything with a pinch of salt.
Yes, take everything with a pinch of salt and just move forward. Of course, things are going to change.
Yeah. So, ma'am, when we feel anxious, when we feel depressed, when we usually, start forming a degrading world. So, and we eventually have a negative self-image. So, how do we distinguish between the fact and a thought, so that formation of such a mindset can be broken?
See, it's a practice. You don't break the magnetic field when it has gone beyond your range. You cannot do that. You need an external factor to do that, right? If it is at an initial stage, you can still do that by reversing the way you are thinking, by thinking and analyzing and observing something which is beyond the perception that you are getting right now, right? So you are able to differentiate at that point only what is fact and what is not so fact there in your particular situation that you are thinking in your mind. But as it grows and it replicates deeply into your mind, it becomes a kind of concept which is very rigid, right? So you need to give yourself some time. Don't be harsh on yourself. Whether we talk about somebody who is losing up a job, losing a family as well, whose parents are getting positive, right? And he is thinking that, I'm not able to handle all these stuff, and things are going very into a situation where I'm not able to handle anything. So probably there you need to think a wider perspective, what nature is trying to teach you, because nature is a teacher and a very hard teacher, right? Yeah.
Right.
I'd like to add here, there is some methodology I came across many years back, and they had a very simple tool to come out of any kind of situation. And the tool is a question. The question is, what so? Just ask what so, and write down whatever the answer comes. So if the situation is going from bad to worse and you're anxious about it, just write what so. And whatever you write, whatever comes as an answer, just take it as a grade. Because you may have had an altercation with your boss, you may have had a lot of stress and pressure in your job. The moment you take it in a degrading point of view, like Pranati asked, the moment you take it, you conclude it, and you are not willing to change it. The more you stay with that conclusion, the more painful it is. So when you ask a question, what so, you allow more answers to come. Okay, so what else may happen there? So ask this question to yourself, what so? And what really happens is, when you are in that kind of anxious state of mind, you're not willing to play pause. Nobody plays pause. They are constantly going over there. Just pause for a while. And that's when, various methodologies like mindfulness or meditation, they come into picture.
Right.
Yeah.
So, when we talk about happiness, so the ability to create happiness is in it. So that ability resides within us. So then why, most of the people, despite having that comfortable life, struggle, seek that joy and happiness?
Very beautiful question. Now listen to what I am saying, this one line. Joy doesn't require reason.
That's true.
Happiness does. So joy and happiness are not same. Joy is what you see when you see an infant, a toddler. They don't require a reason to laugh or be happy. We tend to forget that. And we tend to associate joy as well as happiness, and we combine them together, and then we look for a reason. Now, where are these reasons coming from? These reasons are coming from the black and white from the first question. And who defined that black and white? Somebody, sometime in your, in your lifetime when you were a kid, somebody told you this is how to be happy. Why are they happy? Because they bought a new car. Why are they happy? Because, somebody said good things about them. Why are they sad? Because, they did not get a promotion. So everything is associated with that black and white, and you're constantly running after happiness.
Right.
In Hindi, there is a beautiful word, or rather, it's a mix of Hindi and Urdu. The word is shukrana. The more you practice shukrana or gratitude for what you have, the more is your joy. And that is what we are not doing. We are not practicing gratitude. Instead, we are always practicing complaints. There are always grievances. The question is not what you have. The question is, what are you doing with what you have? So when you realize that this is what you have and this is enough for now, you would have much more. But when you start playing with it, that's when it works for people. Everybody wanted to ask for a holiday before the lockdown. And the universe said, okay, if that's what you ask for, here it is. You have a good long 15, 20 months of holiday. Now tell me, what do you want? And then people wanted to go back to office. Within a month, they were like, oh my God, this corona should be over, lockdown should be over, and I want to go to office, and I want to meet people physically. I want to see smiling faces, and not on Zoom. Enough of Zoom. Within 5-6 months, everybody said enough of Zoom. It's
Because
not
somewhere down the line, we associated joy, happiness with the physicality that we carry.
absolutely.
It's an internal phenomena that exhibit, the quality every moment.
Yeah,
Moment we are going to be with ourselves, it is going to be there. So whether we are on Zoom or we are there in the office, anywhere.
absolutely.
That's
So
right.
happiness and joy are going to follow you there and then. And of course, from your conversation and whatever beautiful words that you have said, I felt that abundance is something that that is what you intend to say in your conversation.
Yes, so there is abundance, there is prosperity. See, if you look at most people, they are not actually looking to get rich. People think that they want to get rich. What they actually are asking to embrace prosperity. Yeah.
From a heart of destitute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Right. So when we talk about meditation, so ma'am, how can meditation be useful in this scenario, and why do most of the people find hard to meditate?
It is always difficult to learn new subject because we have never learned it. So once you start, reading it, once you start observing it, once you start imbibing in your heart and in your body and in your mind, it start becoming your part. Like we don't realize that, brushing teeth is something different, right? But we do realize that meditation is something different if you are doing up in a day. So that's the reason. Meditation is, of course, a very important tool to reconnect with yourself. Now, when I say meditation, it might give you an image, somebody sitting there with eyes closed and meditating for hours and getting a siddhi and riddhi. No, it's a state of mind where you are completely into a process, whatever you are doing. So to attain it with eyes opened, you need to attain it with eyes closed first, so that everything that is going outside start coming back to yourself. That is the reason people find hard to close their eyes. When we say close your eyes and sit for some time, they feel kind of trepidation in their hearts that they cannot sit. There is a fear and there is an anxiety that suddenly pop up, and this is what happens at night also. That's the reason people lose their sleep. If we are able to accept it to the best of our abilities, that whatever is happening to us, it's not our part, it's happening to us. So who is experiencing this particular event is a matter of real study. So if you start studying either through analytical analysis or through silent observations through meditations, you tend to be into a meditative state, because now your objective is not to pinpoint what is wrong outside. The objective is what is wrong going inside. So that is how meditation helps, and that is where meditation is hard to do. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Geet sir?
Yeah, so first let us go to the basic. What exactly is meditation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, meditation is that state of mind when you are aware of everything without defining it in black or white. When you are in total allowance, you do not have a perspective or a judgment or a point of view about anything. That is what meditation is.
Absolutely.
When you have already defined so much of black and white, and at that point of time you are trying to meditate, and there is this constant chatter going on in your mind, already always listening, already always talking. how would you actually be able to meditate? So first thing is, a lot of people go into meditation without knowing what meditation is and what they are actually going to do. In trying to have that thoughtlessness, they create so much of thoughtfulness. Yeah, and that is why they find it difficult. But the point is, meditation is a vicious cycle of doing the meditation and being calm. When both of them are there together, hand in hand, that's when you would reach that state of meditation. Yeah,
So
when you are no more in reaction of anything that's black or white.
just one more point over here. We have a third eye view. Now, third eye view is not this view. This is of course there, but the third eye view is view that is taken from a higher end, where you see from a corner of your room what exactly you are doing. So when you practice that, gradually you distinct yourself from what you are doing to who you are, right? So then meditation automatically happens. At night we have this tendency that, you know, whatever we have experienced throughout the day, it tends to move out in form of dreams. So it is similar in meditation. When you start, you know, sitting regularly, you experience there are too much that is coming from within, and eventually you feel that nahi abhi to nahi ho sakta. And that's the point. If you just break even that point, you move on into a domain where all these thoughts start disappearing, and you would realize that in a span of time. And that is when you start settling down, observation becomes much sharper, and of course there are much more that comes up other than your thoughts.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Now, sir, when to not be able to doing the regular task, where does that procrastination originates from?
Black and white. Everything is black and white because they thought that this black and white is is accepted by people around, by family, by society. They do not see the uniqueness in them. When they do not see the uniqueness in them, they force themselves to be like other. How many people would actually like to meditate? How many would actually like to be slim and fit and would like to do exercise? There are some, their bodies do not require it and they don't do it and it works for them. There are others who may require it. And what if their body is supposed to be plump or fat? What if it's okay? The black and white is, having a little of extra weight is not good. That is what is black and white, which is defined by somebody else. And people are resisting that and their unique self. Procrastination always happens for things which you do not actually want to do. That's number one. Number two, you do procrastination for things which are way too easy. You can do it like this. It's a cakewalk for you. So you would procrastinate there because you do not see the importance of doing it now, but in the last moment. And people love testing their limits. They love testing how much of challenge can they take. You have seen students, and we all have been students, right? Just night before the exam, we burn the midnight oil. Yeah? But throughout the year, we don't do it. So if procrastination is not for one person, but for everyone. And why do everyone need to be disciplined? Discipline is a clear-cut, black and white defined by someone else. It works for certain people. Very good. But what does it has to work for everyone? So whenever you are trying to do something which is against your basic grain, you will procrastinate. That's my point of view. Yeah.
Probably a placement of thought where you find a challenge so overpowering that you don't find that much of energy to work upon it. So you tend to drift away from that situation till that point where you find another challenge more challenging than the present challenge, and then you find, okay, let me work on it. a little bit. Again, a fear is something that pop up there, and that's a cause of anxiety majorly.
Yeah. So when we talk about, fear, we talk about anxiety. So what can be the reason of our mindset, our ideas, our beliefs are so rigid, and what can be done about this, cognitive rigidity?
See, again, you need to be very, very soft on yourself. And again, that question, what so? What will happen? Whatever I'm believing, what is going to get, what I'm going to get from it. And on what facts I have put myself into that belief system. That can happen only when there is an intention of going within, nothing else. You cannot keep your eyes open and just say, keep looking at people and analyzing what is happening within you. No. You have to go within, you have to stop the world outside and see what is happening within then. It is only then that you can move out of that rigidity. Otherwise, no one else can help you out.
Yeah, I always say, the person who can inspire you is yourself. The way you can inspire yourself, then nobody can.
Absolutely.
So, anything, sir, you have to add in or add on anything? You want to like to say anything? You want to like to give a message to the audience? Anything?
Yes, I do have. What I would like to tell is, when this lockdown and when this corona situation started, there was a lot of fear. Now you have lived through that fear for almost 15 months. And that time there were first few 50,000 or so many people who had corona. Now more than 1.2 crores are actually cured. And some of you are the ones who got corona and you were able to pull through. Nothing lasts forever. This too shall pass. Everything has an expiry date.
Yes.
The question is not what you want to have, but what you have, what you are going to do with it. So before things open up, before things get better, ask yourself, what is it that I can do right now which is going to shift and change when things open up. So that's my message, that start focusing on what is it that you would like to do in the moment.
That's really amazing. That was an amazing session. It was so good to talk to you today. Thank you for being our guest. And if anyone wishes to connect to us, feel free to leave a message or visit the website, that is www.enabler.co.in. You can book your consultation sessions over here. You can also go to the blogs, read about stress management and mind handling solutions. So how can we actually beat our anxiety, and there is so much many more. So thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir, for being so much amazing and sharing your thoughts. It was an amazing session. You said thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, good sir. Thank you for coming.